This week in Jamaica Now, Westmoreland Central MP George Wright takes leave of absence as a government legislator after assault video goes viral. Health authorities now investigating a suspected COVID-19 vaccine-related death.
It was a very popular case in the news, and a lot of information has been out there already.
Government extends COVID weekend lockdown, but with some adjustments. 5 killed in a terrible highway crash. Why a bereaved father is also angry. Then, St Vincent now begging for help as volcano eruptions continue. Terror at a Scotiabank branch. A knife-wielding man holds security guards and the police at bay. And reputed gangster Christopher Dog Paw Linton freed by the appeal court.
He's not a monster to just go around and killing people as what them said, you understand?
What his mother had to say. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. Westmoreland Central MP George Wright is now an independent member of the Parliament, but could take leave of absence from the House of Representatives amid the fallout from his assault case. Wright is the man in this video raining blows on a woman during an altercation on April 6. Days after the police named him as a person of interest, he surrendered to the Freeport Police in Montego Bay on Wednesday.
Mr. George Wright willfully came into the police. He was questioned and released without charge. And that is all we have to say for right now.
On Friday, the police announced that they had closed the case as both the MP and the complainant, Tanisha Singh, have indicated that they no longer wish to press charges. Meanwhile, Mr. Wright has met with the Jamaica Labour Party General Secretary, Dr. Horace Chang. Following that meeting, the party's caucus of MPs held further talks at which it was decided that Wright would no longer be regarded as a government member of Parliament. In the meantime, pressure continues to mount on the government to take further action. Health authorities say they are now investigating one suspected COVID-19 vaccine-related death in Jamaica. At a press conference on Wednesday, they did not provide details. However, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Besesa McKenzie described the deceased as a popular individual whose death had been in the news.
And a lot of information has been out there already. But from our point, once we have gotten, I have said in the last press brief that we are waiting the case reports from one of the hospitals. And so I'm going to just ask you to be patient. And once we have gotten all the information, then we will share it.
You would be able to say what age group?
I don't have it offhand, but I'm sure if you check past media reports, you would see it in there.
At the same time, Permanent Secretary in the Health Ministry, Dunstan Bryan, was insistent that the cause of death had not yet been concluded.
I wish to state categorically at this time that there is no recorded death that is attributable to vaccination. What we do have is as an indication that there is a case that is suspected. And so I want to make that from an administrative perspective, just for the purposes of the bureaucracy, that we understand that at this time, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is not processing any transaction related to the death of any individual as a function of vaccination.
Meanwhile, Director of Family Health, Dr. Melody Ennis, revealed that 4 other persons had adverse reactions to the vaccine, with 1 being immobilized for hours, experiencing severe muscle pain, and 3 reporting severe allergic reaction. Since March, some 135,473 people have received the COVID vaccine in Jamaica. Daily infections have reduced, but on Thursday there were 16 deaths. Meanwhile, the government has extended the weekend lockdowns for another 3 weeks. Under the new measures, the curfews will start at 4 p.m. on Saturdays to 5 a.m. on Sundays and resume at 2 p.m. on Sundays to 5 a.m. on Mondays. The 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily curfew will continue Mondays to Fridays. A St Andrew father is among relatives left in deep bereavement after 5 people were killed in a terrible Monday morning crash on Highway 2000 near the Spanish Town exit. Passengers told the Gleaner that they had complained to the driver that something was going wrong with the back wheel. He reportedly cut his speed on the highway, sought to assure them that all was well, and then picked up speed. Shortly after, the driver lost control of the vehicle, crashed in a small truck, and overturned several times. 4 people died on the spot. 20-year-old Janelle Maitland later died at hospital. Her father, Wayne Maitland, said the family has been left torn by the loss, but angered by the graphic videos of the crash that were being circulated on social media.
You know, it is just not something that you really want to enjoy, because it is not a fun thing, but it brings more tears to my heart when I really hear about people talking about the video and then persons sending it to your phone.
Meaning you have received the video yourself?
Yes. Persons send the video to me, and you know, it is just that people don't really understand the purpose of cell phones at times and the grief that people is going through. But persons send the video to me, wanting me to identify my child in the video.
Eruptions from the La Soufrière volcano continued Friday as a cruise ship arrived to evacuate some of the foreigners who had been stuck on a St Vincent island coated in ash. The Eastern Caribbean country needs water. The explosions began on April 9, forcing some 20,000 people to flee the northern end of the Eastern Caribbean island. Power has been affected and the water systems have been contaminated. Meanwhile, British, Americans and Canadians were being evacuated aboard the Royal Caribbean Cruises Celebrity Reflection. Customers and staff at Scotiabank Hagley Park branch in St Andrew were left terrified on Friday after a man pulled a knife inside the banking hall. The circumstances leading to his actions were not immediately clear. However, the police and security guards responded. No one was harmed. Reputed gangster Christopher Dog Paw Linton and his co-convict Micah Allen have been freed by the appeal court after almost 8 years in prison. In May 2013, they were given 2 15-year prison sentences for the April 2010 shooting at 2 policemen in a service vehicle along Tavern Drive in St Andrew. The acquittal of Dog Paw Linton has brought joy to his family, who believes that he was innocent of the charges from the very outset. Linton's 62-year-old mother, Clarice Sr., who described herself as a born-again Christian, condemned the justice system as corrupt, saying her son would be at greater risk of reprisal from the police than by rival factions.
Well, is it threat that some of them pass and them come here? Because them say if them catching them or killing. Them tell me that. Right? But at the same time, they never hurt him. When the time when them hold him, them carry me.
And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications and subscribe today. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, more from Clarice Sr., the mother of reputed gangster Christopher Dog Paw Linton.
I don't believe everything. Because he's not a monster to just go around and killing people as what them said. You understand? So I don't believe that. You have a child, you know, you don't know what the child do because you're not with him at all times, right? But I don't believe him do all what them say. He's a good youth. That youth grew up in a church, you know, he baptized and grew up in a church, you understand? And I believe it's the system.